I'm going to show you an exploit that will give you about 300,000 gold per hour in Dragon's Dogma 2. First off, check the status of your pawns under pawn and make sure none of their specializations are logistician, or else they'll automatically combine ingredients for you and they'll ruin this. Next, if you want to do this at max capacity, then you need 20,000 gold to start. We'll be taking a few ox carts between Melv, Vernworth, and Checkpoint Rest Town. But what you need to do is you need to go to Melv. You can take this North Vernworth ox cart station to get to Melv really quickly. And there's an ox cart that goes back to Vernworth. Once you're here, go in this Runes Apothecary.
Well met, sir.
Speak to this guy and go right one tab. We're going to buy all of his apples and all of his grapes. Basically, we're going to be flipping these apples and grapes for a lot of profit.
They do say gold is made to be spent.
Once we do that, we're going to rest for a full day, which is usually 3 or 4 cycles. You can see the day-night cycle change in the background. It needs to go to nighttime and then daytime. So just sit down and press doze off at the bench over and over. Keep in mind these grapes and apples do rot after about 5 days. So we're going to periodically put these in storage, but we want to keep them in our inventory for now for reasons I'll explain in a second. Once you've rested, buy another batch.
How might I do come again?
Sit at the bench again. We're just going to doze off for another day. We're just going to keep repeating this process.
Well met, sir. How might I be?
On the 4th day, you'll see you have some ripened grapes. I just did 5 days. I would be careful going beyond this because, like I said, they can rot. But we do want ripened grapes and apples. At this point, go into the inn.
Here at the inn, I get so few customers.
Talk to the guy at the inn.
I can manage both.
Organize your storage. And deposit all of the ripened grapes and apples. As you can see, 5 of my grapes and my apples rotted just in the time that I stood up from the bench and went into the inn. But that shows that right around 5 days is when they start to rot. Your storage is able to hold 100 of each of them, so try to get it as close to that as possible. We're just going to keep buying, resting, and putting away our apples and grapes until our storage is full, or until you run out of money.
Fancy look at my wares. Do come again.
Once you're satisfied with the amount of apples and grapes that you have in your storage, now we're going to move on to the next step. I'm going to go to the ox cart to go back to Vernworth, which is right here on the map, if you forgot. Then once we arrive in Vernworth, we're going to head to the west, to the West Vernworth ox cart station. And we're going to board this ox cart. This takes us to Checkpoint Rest Town. Once you get to Checkpoint Rest Town, go up to the inn, and we're going to take out our unripened fruits. We're just going to make those ripen really quick so they can get the maximum value.
Sick of crowds, but
I would only wait 1 day at a time for these fruits to ripen, just to be safe. There's a bench right under the inn. So wait a day and then check to see what ripened. Put the ripened ones back in the inn, and this will maximum take 4 days to do it to all of them.
can you trade crowd?
Remember, you can only have 100 of each at a time. Make sure that you're not ripening more than 100 at a time if you already have ripened ones in your storage. And once you have them ripened, we're going to be looking for this merchant who's right here. He's right outside the sword and staff, and his name is Jord.
Hope to see you again ere long.
He's actually a Bakbatal merchant, which is why you can sell these for so much here, because grapes and apples are worth more in Bakbatal. But if he's there, we're going to take all our ripened grapes and apples out of storage. I have 99 of each, and now I'm going to sell them to Jord. If he's not here, by the way, you can rest at that bench until he comes here. It can be a while before he gets back, but just keep resting at the bench and waiting around, and he'll come eventually. Just make sure you don't have your fruits in your inventory while you're resting. And this is where you make all the money. So each of these ripened apples is worth 350, and each ripened grape is worth 350. So in one route, I'm going to make roughly 70,000 from 1 stack of ripened grapes and apples, and I have even more in my storage. We're going to sell those too. First 2 stacks were 34,000, second 2 were 5,600 each. So that's roughly 80,000 gold, and the cost was about 12,000. So I profited about 68,000 gold. It probably took me about 15 minutes to do that whole route. Once you've sold all your ripened fruits, you can take the ox cart from Checkpoint Rest Town back to Vernworth, and then back to Melv, and restart the whole process over. Final thing you can do if you want to try to optimize this more is you can put a port crystal down in Bokbatal, and you can put a port crystal down in Melv. You can use fairy stones to go back and forth to try to make it a little faster. Of course, the fairy stones cost money too, so I don't know if the profit is really much better, if at all, just because the fairy stones offset a lot of the cost. But this is another option. And that's it.